TNA wrestling star Chris Bay suffers a serious neck injury during the recent TNA wrestling television tapings. TNA has released a statement on his injury. We'll let you know all the details on that. Plus, the Usos reunite on Monday Night Raw. Jey Uso is set to squash his beef with Roman Reigns on SmackDown, but Sami Zayn questions whether Jey can trust his twin brother Jimmy. An update on The Rock after he made his surprise return at Bad Blood, but we haven't seen the People's Champion since. The War Raiders are the brand new #1 contenders for the World Tag Team Championships. We got the ratings for Friday's edition of SmackDown, featuring the Motor City Machine Guns winning the WWE Tag Team Championship in just their third match. Obafemi, could he be headed to the main roster? Well, there are some conflicting reports about whether the former North American champion could be set for Raw or SmackDown. The annual WWE Madison Square Garden house show on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, has been confirmed. Plus, we have the ratings for Friday's edition of AEW Rampage. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with an update, a sad one, on Chris Bay after he suffered a very serious neck injury, according to reports at a recent TNA Impact television tapings. Now, Chris Bay, according to Fightful Select, sustained a serious injury in Detroit at the TNA Wrestling TV tapings. The match and the show were ended with only the post-show meet and greet following the injury. Now, Fightful say they don't really have any more details on how the injury occurred. It did occur in the main event, a match that featured himself and Ace Austin versus the Hardys, but it looked like it was a very serious injury. Bay was taken to a hospital with a neck injury and underwent surgery. Fightful are told that he's recovering, but details beyond that were being kept private. Bay, of course, is widely adored in TNA wrestling and was a big part of the company repairing its relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. New Japan requested him for dates years ago after years of not working with TNA. Now, the wrestling world has begun to reach out and send their thoughts to Chris Bay after sustaining this serious injury. As I mentioned, he suffered this nasty injury during the TNA tapings over the weekend in Detroit, and his peers in the promotion and the pro wrestling business have sent him words of encouragement. Now, Bay, as I mentioned, suffered this neck injury during his match with the Hardy Boys and had to undergo surgery. Now, one of TNA Wrestling's most popular stars currently, Joe Hendry, sent his wishes to Bay, calling him one of the nicest people he's met, saying, quote, "We love you, Chris Bay," began Hendry. "You're one of the nicest people I've ever met and an amazing human being. We are all thinking of you." Hendry also asked fans to keep Bay in their thoughts and prayers during the Impact taping as per those at the show. Bay's tag team partner Ace Austin, whom Bay was teaming with when the injury happened, posted a series of photos of them together with a peace and heart emoji to show support as well. Now, TNA has provided a bit of a health update on Chris Bay, as well as El Hijo del Vikingo, who also sustained a nasty injury during this recent television taping. Now, TNA has provided an update on the injury. Both stars, as mentioned, suffered nasty injuries at the tapings in Detroit, which could see them on the sidelines for quite some time. Now, TNA's update has revealed that Bay had an MRI procedure after suffering a neck injury, but is reportedly in good spirits. They said, quote, "Chris Bay is recovering at the hospital following surgery for the neck injury suffered Sunday night, and he had an MRI procedure on Monday. He was resting in his hospital room Monday night, joking, talking about Bound for Glory, and in good spirits," said the TNA statement. The update further revealed that Bay will be in Detroit for a few days, while the doctors who have treated him have also been in contact with his personal doctor. Bay has reportedly been joined by friends and family in Detroit following his surgery. The TNA wrestling star's injury, as I mentioned, occurred during the main event match, which of course included the Hardy Boys as well. Bay and Austin had recently lost the TNA World Tag Team Championships to the System at the Victory Road pay-per-view. The Hardys, of course, won the titles over the weekend at Bound for Glory. Now, TNA's update also revealed that Vikingo had suffered an injury to his right knee at the tapings, but left Detroit for Mexico in a leg brace and was walking on crutches. The Mexican star will be examined and treated by his doctor in his home country per the update. The injury occurred during Vikingo's match with Trent Seven, where the match called off due to injury. Of course, he had only just returned to the ring after having that lengthy layoff for a prior injury. So, of course, we will keep Chris Bay and Vikingo in our thoughts. Now, going to Raw last night, of course, it was one of the final stops before Crown Jewel this weekend. And after helping cost Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga their WWE Tag Team Championships on SmackDown, the slowly reconciling tandem of Jay and Jimmy Uso together once more on Raw to further hash things out. While Jimmy seemed eager to hug it out and get back to being the Usos, Jay hesitated, saying they still needed to fix things. And with that in mind, Jimmy urged his brother to squash his beef with Roman Reigns, who he said it would be present at SmackDown on Friday. While Jimmy agreed, as tends to happen in these bloodline segments, the Usos were interrupted by an attack from Loa and Tonga, who were accompanied by Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa, and looked to be in dire straits before too long. With Jimmy tied up in the ropes and held back by Loa and Tonga, Sikoa slid a chair to Fatu, who wrapped it around a fallen Jay in the corner. As the Samoan werewolf ran towards the turnbuckle at full speed, Jay came in and threw the chair right in the face just as Jimmy got free. Superkicked the Tongans and teamed up with Jimmy to hit Fatu with a tandem superkick. The Bloodline then retreated, circled by Raw General Manager Adam Pearce and a security team, as Jay and Jimmy stood side by side staring them down. While settling things with Reigns is still an outlier for Jay, the twin brothers appear to be headed for another run together as a tag team, although Jay did make a few things clear. Quote, "They know us now, they don't get us confused now," he said. "This go round, if we do this, we ain't nobody's do-boys, we ain't nobody's side piece." Now, many people have wondered, well, what does it mean for Crown Jewel, and what does it mean possibly for Sami Zayn moving forward, of course, a previous member of the Bloodline? Well, WWE has made official another match for this weekend's Crown Jewel show in Saudi Arabia, as the original Bloodline, led by Roman Reigns and consisting of Reigns, Jay, and Jimmy Uso, will face off against the new Bloodline led by Solo Sikoa. After this week's Raw, WWE announced that Reigns and the Usos will feature in a six-man tag team match against Sikoa's group, though they haven't revealed who will be among the four will be representing the new version of the Bloodline. As I mentioned, Jay and Jimmy Uso have patched things up. Sami Zayn, though, who was previously a part of the original Bloodline, has questioned Jay, putting his trust in Jimmy after how the latter betrayed his twin earlier. Zayn was then surprisingly seen speaking to Sikoa during this week's Raw to add further intrigue to the storyline. Zayn has not been booked for the Saudi Arabia show, which will be held at the Mohammed Abdo Arena in Riyadh. Now, speaking of the Bloodline, just what's going on with The Rock? What are his plans for next year and WrestleMania? Of course, there were rumors that he wasn't booked for WrestleMania, but The Rock called that out, saying, "Don't listen to the bullshit." The Rock appeared at WWE Bad Blood and left many wondering what exactly the WrestleMania plans are for the Great One. The Rock spoke on rumors that he wasn't going to be at WrestleMania 41 by saying, quote, "Don't listen to that bullshit" on Instagram. At least sources within WWE, according to Fightful Select, claim that the company is a priority for The Rock, and he's expected in the fold here and there in a sporadic fashion. Higher-ups that Fightful spoke to said The Rock has made clear he's a part of the family and will appear when he's able to. Sources at the Intuit Dome told Fightful they were hopeful The Rock would be present at the first WWE Raw on Netflix, and there's buzz internally for it, even though it's not confirmed. In regards to rumors that The Rock said he wouldn't be working WrestleMania, in asking around, none of Fightful's WWE sources knew where that came from. Those that Fightful spoke to said they had not heard either way of him appearing. One WWE source said it's hard to predict what The Rock is going to do 6 months out because he's going to do pretty well what he wants from a career and appearance perspective. Another WWE producer said that if The Rock decides shortly before a show that he wants to appear, he will. Several others said that as of right now, they've not been given messaging that The Rock won't appear at WrestleMania. As far as WWE Bad Blood, Fightful have been told this wasn't something that had a lot of heavy planning, but the possibility of him appearing became a reality in the weeks prior. This is what led up to the main event of being Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes' tag team match. A few days before the show, Fightful were told WWE got solid confirmation that The Rock would appear, therefore the match changed. Now, the War Raiders, they're the brand new number one contenders for the WWE World Tag Team Championships. They became the number one contenders for the bouts during Raw, defeating the New Day and the Latino World Order in a three-way tag team match. Kofi Kingston had Dragon Lee in position for a tag finisher with his partner Xavier Woods, but Woods opted to fly through the ropes towards Rey Mysterio on the apron. Mysterio avoided Woods, sending him to the floor and taking advantage with Lee to similarly look to finish it. As Mysterio went for the 619 on Kingston, he was plucked from ringside by an interfering Chad Gable, who put him in an ankle lock, thus allowing for Eric and Ivar to re-emerge and deliver a double-team clothesline to German suplex for the pinfall. They now hold a future opportunity at the World Tag Team Championships, held by the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and JD McDonough, after just their second match since returning as a tag team. To qualify for the three-way on Monday, the War Raiders defeated Alpha Academy in just 2.5 minutes. Now, speaking of tag teams, of course, there was tag titles changing hands this past Friday night on SmackDown. And SmackDown was rife with exciting tag team action as the newly debuted Motor City Machine Guns wrestled in a pair of matches that culminated in them being crowned the WWE Tag Team Champions. The question is, however, how did the ratings fare for Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley defeating the Bloodline in just their third ever WWE match? Well, according to WrestleNomics, this week's SmackDown was the second place show amongst the 18 to 49 demographic, with the NBA game between the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks coming in first place. SmackDown scored a 0.43 in the demographic, beating out other NBA games that aired around the same time. The rating represented a 2% increase in the key demo from last week. The overall audience tuned in to the tune of 1.418 million viewers, a 3% rise from last week's show. As it stands, the show is down 36% since last year on Fox, and in the 18-49 demographic, it is down 27% from this time last year. Overall, the show has dropped 31% compared to last year's fourth quarter, and the 18-49 has dropped 20% in that time frame as well. The news comes as NXT is also experiencing a dip in ratings, down 7% since moving from the USA Network to the CW. SmackDown will be the only WWE show on the USA Network by this time next year, as Raw will make the move from USA to Netflix on January 6th. Now, there's been some rumors, speaking of NXT, about Obafemi possibly coming up to the main roster. After a dominant run as the NXT North American champion, Obafemi has finally met his match in the form of Tony D'Angelo this past month. Not only did D'Angelo defeat Femi to win the North American Championship during NXT's debut on the CW, but D'Angelo was able to hold on to it this past Sunday at Halloween Havoc, winning a tables, ladders, and scares match. And those two losses were unusual, though, for Femi, as it now has some wondering if big changes could be coming to his future. Taken to X yesterday afternoon, Fog Jones of PWN tweeted that a rumor was circulating that Femi had said his goodbyes to the NXT roster following Halloween Havoc over the weekend, and they could be moving up to Raw. In a follow-up tweet, Jones noted that he himself hadn't come from a source of his, but had originated in a private account and invited fans to speculate however they wanted. Some are suggesting, though, they haven't heard anything like this, because shortly after, Corey Brennan of Fightful also took to X to comment on the rumours, revealing he hadn't heard anything about Femi being called up. Instead, Brennan said that many within NXT had seen Femi as the one possibly to dethrone Trick Williams for the NXT Championship, and possibly even at Stand and Deliver come WrestleMania 41 weekend. While Brennan didn't go as far as to debunk the rumour, he made clear that it doesn't pass the immediate smell test, though he has continued to reach out to sources to see if they can confirm any of the rumours. Now, many were wondering, is WWE going to be back in Madison Square Garden around the Christmas season, because that is a tradition for WWE, but now indeed it is going to happen. WWE is set to return to the iconic Madison Square Garden in New York over the Christmas period during its holiday live tour. The news was announced during the basketball game between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks that took place on October 28th. WWE later shared the announcement made by Jalen Brunson of the Knicks, which can be seen on the screen. This came after a recent report suggested that WWE could be skipping the annual MSG Holiday Show for 2024. The WWE Live Holiday Tour returns to Madison Square Garden on December 26th, with a show also running in Jacksonville, Florida on the same night. Thursday, December 26th, kicks off the post-Christmas tour, which heads to Pittsburgh on December 27th, while the WWE SmackDown taping takes place in Tampa, Florida. Other dates for the tour include Orlando and Baltimore on December 28, Chicago and Miami on December 29, and Detroit on December 30. This isn't the only time that WWE will be in New York during December, with Saturday night's main event taking place on Long Island in New York on December 14th. And finally, we have the ratings for AEW Rampage this past Friday on TNT. The Friday, October 25th episode of AEW Rampage averaged 241,000 viewers on TNT, up 3% from the previous week. It's the second highest audience total for the show since September 27th. Rampage drew a 0.09 rating in the 18-49 demo. That's up 50% from last week's record low, and ties the second highest rating the show has done in that category since August 23rd. Rampage went head-to-head with the usual slate of college football games on ESPN and FS1, as well as Game 1 of the MLB World Series on Fox. The game between the Los Angeles Dodgers and New York Yankees averaged more than 15 million viewers. As compared to the same week in 2023, Rampage's overall audience was down 24.5%, while its 18 to 49 rating was steady. Of course, it's been widely speculated that Rampage could be wrapping up at the end of the year as AEW enters into its new media rights deal with Warner Brothers Discovery. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.